Hey folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Sung Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Hey, my beautiful, beautiful people who I can see much better. I can see. I got my right cataract, this is my right eye here, and I got the lens replaced. I don't see as good as I should for reading on this eye. But my God, the world is clear. My God, the eyes are great. My God, I can't believe what I wasn't seeing before. By the way, my office needs to be cleaned. My table needs to be cleaned. There's hidden dirt that I didn't see. Norman Reynolds was over in my office, and Norman Reynolds didn't tell me that my table was as dirty as it was. So Norman, if you're not here yet, I will repeat this if I see you in the chat. Anyhow, folks, thank you so kindly for being here. We had a wonderful, thank you, Alistair, you're so sweet, wonderful KPFT show today. Again, we've been having some great KPFT shows. If I stay there, we'll have even better shows because I have lined up a whole lot of folks that would come into the studio, etc., etc., etc. Anyhow, folks, welcome aboard Eric Hayes. Welcome aboard Alistair Waters. Welcome aboard E2247. Welcome aboard Brige MCP. Welcome aboard Lee Grant. Welcome aboard Michael Rudnin. And let me tell you guys what Michael Rudnin decided to do today. Michael Rudnin is well aware that I had cataract surgery yesterday. And in that light, my good friend, my brother, a devout supporter of politics done right, decided to give me something to read. Given that, by the way, I don't have any videos for you today. I was prohibited from doing any work yesterday. So I will read the entire thing, Michael. But you didn't know that I didn't have any videos to read today, Michael Rudnin. But you are going to challenge my eyes. Thank you, sir. Love you, brother. You did the right thing by challenging my eyes, especially because of what you're writing here, what you printed here, which is something we must hear. Absolutely so. Thank you. Anyhow, let's get busy, folks. Let's get busy. It goes like this. This pisses me off to no end, Egberto. Want to do what no mainstream network news has done and read out this whole article? This world burns, or in this case, the world starves with our children's lifetimes. And the media is silent in their complicity. Our actions now determine their fates. Common Dreams reports. The corporate media's shocking silence on latest tipping point study. When what should be top headlines news gets nearly no major coverage at all, on the heels of the latest Intergovernmental Panels on Climate Change IPCC report, which featured scientists running out of ways to emphasize how urgently deep cuts in fossil fuel use are needed, a troubling new climate study has emerged, published in the prominent peer-reviewed science journal Nature 329/23, the study found that a little studied deep ocean circulation system, and by the way, I want you to know, Rudnin, I did cover this when it came out, declared it headlines news. Unfortunately, science doesn't guide us corporate media, doesn't guide US corporate media, which were virtually silent on the landmark study. The authors modeled the effect of the Antarctic meltwater on deep ocean currents crucial to marine ecosystems, similar to the more well-studied Atlantic meridional overturning circulation that the Gulf Stream is a part of, and which is also known to be dangerously weakening. The Antarctic overturning circulation has major planetary impact. It pushes nutrient-dense water from the ocean floor up toward the surface, where those nutrients support marine life. The Nature study, which also refers to the current as the Antarctic bottom water, found that this circulation system is projected to slow down 42% by 2050, with a total collapse this century, according to study co-author Matthew England, CNN 3/29/23. This is indeed headline news with major impacts on the sustainability of marine ecosystem and the ocean's capacity to absorb carbon dioxide, accelerating climate change, and this deep water could cause further ice melt, which isn't incorporated into the study's model. That's why, let me stop right there because I want folks to understand what we're saying. This is important. The models have been failing catastrophically in how quick ice has been melted because of several factors that was left out of these models that they didn't think was possible. Things like the darkening of the sea because the areas where ice has melted is darker, and because it's darker, it picks up more infrared radiation and converts it into heat, thus accelerating the temperature change even more vastly, let alone giving it the front page coverage inarguably deserved. Nor did we find mention on national TV news aside from CNN anchor Michael Holmes interviewing England for the network 3 a.m. airing of CNN News. Aside from the science and environmental focused news outlets, Conversation 3/29/23, these dates are, this must be come from CORE, that FAIR. You must pull this out from FAIR magazine because that's how FAIR reports with those dates like that embedded in their stories. 423 picked up by Salon. Almost no major US-based web outlets offered reports either, with the exception again of CNN, which ran a creditable article by Australian-based journalist Hilary Whiteman, Toronto-based wire service Reuters, the London Guardian, and the BBC also published articles. Climate activist Bill McKibben argued that Donald Trump's arrest, which dominated headlines as the day the Nature study came out, was far less remarkable as news goes. Him ending up in trouble for tax evasion to cover up an affair with a porn star seems unlikely only in its details, McKibben wrote, while the Antarctic story was one of the most important installments in the most important saga of our time, the rapid decline of the planet's physical health. Last year, FAIR, I thought that's where that came from. Last night, FAIR found that after paying brief lip service to that year's IPCC report, TV news networks virtually ignored the climate crisis for the next 6 weeks. When they had a chance to pay lip service to the crisis again on Earth Day, perhaps the Nature study came too soon after the IPCC report, and corporate media had their fill of news requiring viewers to question the grip the fossil fuel industry, a major news advertiser, has on politics. In any case, the shocking lack of coverage of Nature's devastating study demonstrates once again that corporate media's commitment to a livable planet comes nowhere close to matching the urgency of the situation. Radnin, I actually, now that I remember reading that article. It wasn't, it's like, I think it's a duplicate article from FAIR, if I remember correctly. So kudos on you for that. It should piss us off, but we don't get pissed off at things like this. We don't. We act. No piss off. We act. And it's going to be slow, but if we don't do it, who does? Or who do? Who does? Whichever one is grammatically correct. Who do? Because again, it was a plural subject. All right. Bridge MCP says, hi peeps. Michael said, Egberto. I read that already. Bridge says, Egberto's eyes okay after radio show, which was a good show. Thank you so kindly for watching that show, Bridge MCP. I couldn't do it without all of my beautiful people. Alistair Waters says, Keith Oberman had a good point about federalizing the Tennessee National Guard on yesterday's podcast. I would have to hear what her points were. You get into some trouble there with state rights versus federal rights, etc. And there are specific reasons, I believe, for federalizing, which the president can, but I don't know all the nitpicking stuff as far as what has to get done there. Eric says, Biden administration acknowledged flaws in Afghanistan pullout, says should have evacuated troops sooner. No one will be held accountable. It's sad for the 13 dead. What about who should be held accountable for the 220 dead when Reagan was informed about the potential bombing of folks in Beirut? Let's remember that. We have to understand war is war. And while we want it to be done competently, there are a lot of things in war. That's why I don't like war. It shouldn't be done in the first place. All right, let's continue scrolling down. Alistair Waters said, isn't it amazing, brother? Yes, sis, I know you had your operation on your eyes as well, if I recall correctly. And yes, it's a huge difference once you can see again and the lights are bright. It's not a dim existence. It is just wonderful. I hope I'm trying to follow all the rules. I have all my drops that I'm supposed to use, right? And to do it every hour, etc. I'm going to try to follow it to the T, not rub my eyes at all. Nice work on limited eyes, but good to hear you are better. Thank you, brother Eric. And Lee Grant, insurrection in Tennessee. Lee, I'm going to address Lee directly here. All of us in the PDR Posse family know Lee is our brother. In this regard, Lee has poorly bought into the narrative of the right. Lee, don't do that. You're too intelligent to do that. Insurrection in Tennessee. 3 Democrats go in the hall 6 seconds before it's adjourned and shouted in response to the floor not taking off the assassination of our kids, the assassination of our babies, the assassination of good people. They didn't ask to execute anybody. They didn't ask to hang a vice president, a governor, or anything of that nature. They did not spread feces around the entire Capitol. They did not break windows. They did not break doors. They did not invade. They did not go into other Congress people's or legislatures' offices and terrorize these offices. They did not beat up on cops. They did none of that, which is what was done in Washington, D.C., an insurrection. What upsets me about the mainstream media is that they allowed that narrative. They allowed some in Tennessee to say this is an insurrection. Immediately, every news outlet should say this is not an insurrection. The insurrection was when you killed police officers. The insurrection was when you broke into offices. The insurrection was when you vandalized the Capitol of the United States. Nobody vandalized the Capitol of Tennessee. Lee Grant, you're more intelligent than that. You're a part of the PDR posse. We may disagree on certain policies. Let's not disagree on reality. All right, let's continue. Grand E2247, glad Linda and Ashley forced you to take at least a day to heal. Shoot. From the time I got home, they were like wardens. I couldn't, everywhere I walked, Ashley limping with her, her left side is compromised, making sure that I wasn't doing stuff. Linda, she hurt her leg that morning, her leg that morning. She can't walk well. We were wondering if it was broken for a while. Didn't leave me alone. And I didn't get to do any videos. And that's what I do, all through the day. But anyhow, let's continue. Michael Rudden says, for Eric Hayes' USA Today article, which is a good source, but clearly he didn't read past the headline. In September 2019, it said, Trump emboldened the Taliban by publicly inviting them to Camp David on the anniversary of the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on New York and Washington. 5 months later, in February 2020, it said, the Trump administration struck a deal with the Taliban, known as the Doha Agreement, committing the United States to withdraw the U.S. forces from Afghanistan by May 2021. Trump further undermined the U.S. negotiating position by allowing the Taliban to participate in peace process in which it would refrain from attacking the U.S. troops and threatening Afghanistan's major cities, but only as long as the United States remained committed to withdraw by the agreement's deadline, the report said. The White House report also blamed Trump for failing to coordinate a detailed and effective transition from the administration to Biden's, which it said was an especially necessary process when it comes to complex military operations like the U.S. presence in Afghanistan. The Republicans have condemned the Biden administration withdrawal from Afghanistan and sought to pin the blame on Biden. In a statement after the administration released the unclassified report, Rich, the top Republican on the Senate Foreign Relations panel, said that Biden administration abandoned allies and failed to act decisively, costing the lives of U.S. service members and many innocent civilians in Afghanistan. The withdrawal allowed the Taliban to quickly take over, and the country has once again become the haven for terrorists, the rights of women and girls, and vanished, and too many Americans, Afghan partners remain trapped. So yeah, this was all started by El Senor Donald Trump, written in contracts, written in treaties. It's amazing, right? We don't normally, America never generally hold on to the letter of the law that they sign with other entities. If you doubt me, ask the indigenous people, ask many people across Central America whether we actually hold to the commitments we usually make. We hold to them. We ask others to hold to the commitments we make, but we rarely hold to the commitments we make with others. Doubt it? Review our history. It's very important. All right. E2247 says, you got to take a few days to a week to heal. You know what? E2247, love you for that. But guess what? I spoke to the doctor today. He said, Egberto, everything as normal, including I can spin tonight. I'll do my spinning tonight. But he said he don't want me doing anything that puts some strain on my eyes or, where like heavy push-ups and all that kind of stuff that can cause some pressure in the eye. So he forbade me from doing that. So I sat down and asked him what I should do. All right, Mike Cisak says, burn Tennessee to the ground. Leftists call for revenge attacks across Tennessee following the expulsion of 2 Democrats lawmakers who led the act to disrupt the House proceedings. Did you see any fires, Mike Cisak? Did you see any broken glass? Did you see any what do you call that stuff? The hangman stuff, things to hang anybody? I don't think you did. All right. Bridge MCP says Tennessee GOP expels 2 Black Democrat lawmakers for the anti-gun violent protest. A white legislature survived her vote. As Politico noted, the trio's specific offense was joining protesters who gathered in Nashville to call for gun safety reform, approaching the lectern without being called on by House leadership, and toting a bullhorn to lead chants on the House floor, which temporarily caused a suspension in legislative business. In a typical bit of Republican shamelessness, House Speaker Cameron Sexton likened their act to the insurrection. Of course he would. Just to be clear, the group's protest did not cause lawmakers to flee the scene, fear their lives, involve chants calling to anyone to be hanged, or result in the deaths of 5 people like a certain Washington, D.C. not did in 2021. Thank you for bringing that up and reiterating what I said, BHMCP. Julie Henderson, welcome to Politics and Right. Tom C. is in the house. He says, at Lee Grant, a protest is not an insurrection. The real insurrection by his GOP reps in Tennessee who are attempting to destroy democracy and free speech. And that is an absolute true statement. All right, let's see what else we got. E2247 says 2023-2020. The synthesis report of the 6th assessment is overview of the state of knowledge on science of climate chaos. Emphasize new reports. All right, continuing. Mike Cisak says, just in. Video emerges showing Tennessee Representative Justin Jones, who was expelled in leading an insurrection that Tennessee defending racial slurs he used towards another House member. Oh, let me see if I get this right. Oh, Justin, he used a racial slur. What possible racial slur could he use that would demand his expulsion? I don't know. Just projection, I guess. Bridge MCP says, I still can't see all comments on Facebook. All right, please, I can't help you right there right now, my dear beautiful. Egberto, the dates listed are shown when the MSM stories were posted. I consider removing the dates as they're not relevant to the story. No. What I said is I understand that. That is how FAIR writes its stories. It throws those dates in there all the time, and that's because they like accuracy. Eric Hayes says, Egberto, question for you and other climate activists. Are you still on fossil fuels of any sort? Yes, we are. Why, if it is as catastrophic, do you want to be the first to stop using it? We can't, because our society This has to be systemic, Mr. Hayes. It doesn't take rocket science to figure out that what the change has to be made systemically, not individually. Understanding that stuff is happening climate-wise, but you are the ones wanting everyone to do what you say, not what you do. No. We are saying we need systemic change. We cannot do it on our own, period. It's not at all unreasonable. In fact, it is the only logical solution. Lee Grant says they acted the fool and disrespected the body and their colleagues. They didn't act the fool, they protested. Eric Hayes says, Berto, act stop using fossil now by you. And no, that's not fine. Look, Julia Henderson says, solar companies will not install on my house because I don't use enough electricity, not profitable for them. Natural gas here. You see, it's amazing, Julie. That's the point that I constantly make. The fact that you won't use all the electricity you are able to generate proves a point. They should have loved to have you with panels because your electricity could be thrown right back up onto the grid, which would prevent coal burning plants or fossil fuel burning plants to have to just produce less. But because we're in a capitalist society, it's not feasible for them to do that. That's why I said in areas like solarizing the country, we need to take that outside of the purview of capitalism, let it be done by we the people, have private installers, which then they'll make more money also because we would pay the private installers more than a living wage to just go install solar panels all over the confounded country. And those who have excess energy, we put it back onto the grid. That will necessitate us needing less power plants if we start using everybody's roof as a power generating station. And we can make these things look beautiful. But again, when you have brainwashed people by psychological psychopaths, that is most people that run the capitalist system, you have a problem doing things like this. All right, let's continue. Bridge MCP says, Lee, they did not do protocol, but they represented people who want the laws. They were in the House making their noise and have a right to be heard. They do. All right. Let's see what else continue. Egberto talking about blasphemy in Afghanistan. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. Daniel Ledo says, he drives a car, uses natural gas, uses AC and farts, but he won't live the way he wants us all to live. His excuse, it doesn't matter unless everyone does it. Total BS. It's just a hypocrite. Well, that is how somebody who doesn't think logically, that's the answer you would come up with, Mr. Ledo. But stick with us. As you stick with us, even if you don't accept that you are learning, you will. All right, let's continue this. Bridge MTP says, anti-trans swimmer Riley Gaines has gained in third campaign ad this year for Governor Christie. No, Riley Gaines tied for fifth with transgender swimmer. It's not her entire identity. Thank you for pointing that out to Mike Cisak. Bridge MCP says, it was not an insurrection. Stop watching BS Info, which I agree with. Conservatives, answer me this. How many dead children are required before we consider another assault weapons ban? These weapons of war enable mass shooters to kill so many. You know what is so funny, Bridge? I don't even know if the AR-15s are used in war. You know, I don't even know if they're used in war. Can somebody tell me that? I don't know. If J6 was an insurrection, then TN is an insurrection. No, they're not. Let's itemize the things and you'll see that that's not true. But if you want to believe that, it proves what we say about those on the right. Mike Cisak, think. Logical thinking. Let's try it. It works. Logical thinking. It works. All right. E2247 says, yesterday, GOP in state of Tennessee showed the world what it has learned. Nothing in 141 years since gunfight in OK Corral, as they expelled 2 state representatives in its state assembly for speaking as elected legislators against gun violence. I agree. How could I not agree with that? Daniel Edo says, no police officers were killed on January 6th. Yes, they were. But Egberto just can't help himself from spreading lies. He thinks lying helps his cause. No, I think you remember what I say about many on the right projection? They look at everything that they see others tell in the truth and they project it upon them. Not to worry. We don't buy it, but it's okay. All right, let's see what else we got here. Peggy Lopez says, thank you, Linda and Ashley, for guard dogging Egberto. I love you, Linda. Why are you being so bad to me, Linda? Why are you being so bad to me, Linda? I have to get the work done. I am so behind now. Do you realize I have to get 6 blogs? That one day that she held me up means that tonight I'll be working on 6 blogs. I have had my friend's car until her doctor cut her loose to drive after knee replacement. We really have to watch those we love. And I know that's so true. And I love everybody in this room. And you're right about that. And they did the right thing. And even as I complained, Lopez, I knew they were doing the right thing. So, I could always have gone upstairs and said, to hell with you guys, and get into my room and lock the door. But I know my wife and daughter were absolutely right. And I just did what I was told. And, they spoke to the doctor. And the doctor told them, you just make sure he does this, okay? And they did. And so far, so good. I haven't accidentally rubbed my eye or anything, and I've been putting my sauce in my eye every hour. So I've been following the rules. I've been listening to what people tell me. But I really appreciate all of y'all's support as well. Really do appreciate all your support. The expulsion debate, and from E2247, the expulsion debate and vote in 55 years, and 2 days after Dr. King was assassinated in Tennessee, no Tennessee Republicans have not learned anything that really matters. No, they've not. No, they've not. And, it's for the people to speak. And what was so great? If you look at that demonstration, right, that you had yesterday, or the day that they're talking about, that demonstration looked like America. It makes me happy. Because what we saw was a Republican Party that is dying. What we saw is a white supremacist party dying. And then we saw a family of people that looked like America. We had our white brothers and sisters, our Chinese brothers and sisters. I should actually more accurately say Asian brothers and sisters, because China is a country, not the ethnicity. Our Asian brothers and sisters, our black brothers and sisters, they were all together locking hands and saying, this will not occur. And imagine if we lock hands on not only guns, if we lock hands on so many other things, that this plutocracy, as I mentioned earlier on, and I'm going to cut out that piece out of the video that I did at KPFT. Imagine if we just locked hands. The dying breed will just disappear into irrelevancy. They're on their look, folks, they're on their last grasp. Wisconsin is an example. When a 50-50 state beats the right by 10 points, baby, we are moving forward. No vamos, as we used to say in Panama, ni un paso atrás. Not another backward move. All right. Julie Henderson says, recruit volunteers to read your text. We don't want you to lose your sight nor voice. You have a wonderful voice. Don't strain it. Thank you. Let me tell you something, young lady, beautiful Julie Henderson. The eyes are doing fine. And there's no strain on it. It gets dry, as they told me to use this in it every hour. I've been following the rules. And these are the steroids. And Ashley told me it was a steroid along with an anti-inflammatory. They didn't have to give me any antibiotics. And in this time of world, we don't want to use antibiotics if you don't need it because of what's going on with antibiotics. So we're following the rules. All right. Well, thank you for your concern. I love it. If at any time I need to kind of behave myself, I definitely will, like I did yesterday. I really did yesterday. All right. Then Daniel Edo says, only if you accept the redefining of the words by these POS progressives, if you want to call us a piece of, you know what, progressives, stop playing their stupid game. It was a riot, just like January 6th. If you have a I feel for you. Daniel, I really feel for you. I honestly feel for you, brother. All right. Mike Cisa saying, Berto, Trump had certain requirements in that agreement, and if the Taliban didn't hold to the agreement, which they didn't, then the agreement would not be followed. Instead, Biden screwed it up. You can believe what you want to believe, Mike. But I mean, that doesn't make it so at all. All right. Tom C says, no place in America for kid killer guns. Choose second graders over the Second Amendment. I love that. I love that. That is a phrase of the day. Choose second graders over the Second Amendment. I love that. I love that. Thank you. Oh, wow. All right. I love that. I love that. All right. Michael Rodney says, Egberto, guillotines and scaffolding with nooses. There were no lynchings or firebombs in Tennessee. Again, they're trying their best to equate the two. On the left, we do legitimate protest. On the right, they do absolute violence. We see it day in and day out, day in and day out. So my conservative brothers and sisters, don't join the fold and don't defend them. Peggy Lopez says, my new heroes, the Justins. I know they're both called Justin Pearson and Justin Jones. What amazing young men. They sure are, and a very amazing young men. All right, Michael Ronan says, Eric Hayes, are you trolling? Such weak bait. Fossil fuels will only be required so long as we don't have renewables infrastructure to replace their demands. You get it? Listen to Brother Rutt. He's right. He's right. Whoa, you guys, it looked like I thought I wrote the show, even though I didn't have videos, but you guys are taking over the show. Bridge MCP says as follows. Democratic lawmakers, a Tennessee facing expulsion over his advocacy for tighter gun laws in the wake of the last week's Nashville elementary school shooting, was physically assaulted by a Republican on the state house floor on Monday, video footage show. State Representative Justin Jones, a Democrat who is a black and Filipino, was struck by Representative Justin Lafferty. A chaos broke out in the Tennessee Capitol building amid the Republican-led effort to keep state gun laws unchanged. Rick Hayes says, Egberto, you can be the first on climate. You get solar panels, you drive evil. I can't do that. Again, like I said, the capitalist structure controls the solar panels and it makes no financial sense, no economic sense, no health sense the way they implement it. Peggy Lopez says the social and racial changes began with World War II have slowly displayed systematically in small ways in the northern historical states. The southern historical states remain the same as Civil War times. You know, I agree with most of that, Peggy, but I don't want to give the northern states too big a kudos over the southern states. Remember the busing that occurred in Boston? That wasn't too kind. A lot of stuff that still occurs in Chicago, other places in Minnesota, you know. What we have in these other places are laws that we don't have here in the South. That part I give. But what we have to work on, Peggy, is the hearts of people, right? We have to work on the laws first because the laws are not dependent on the heart. And when I say heart, I mean the part of the brain you feel in the heart. People have to start looking at their brothers and sisters and saying, you are just like me. We have the same pains. We have the same hurts. We have the same feelings, etc., 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 etc. We got to learn to do that, right? So, and Roberto Lewis alluded to that today when he came on my show on Politics Done Right in the studio. And that is, you can change laws immediately and force certain actions. It takes a bit more interaction to change it in the heart. One of the things I want to do is, the way I try to point out is, when Daniel Ledo comes out with many of his racist attacks, when Daniel Ledo comes out with a lot of his nonsensical wordation, I try my honest best not to just be critical of him, but to let him understand that I know that isn't intrinsic to his being, but that is what externalities have done to him, very well psychologically arranged. I get it. To the people on the left who just think I spend too much time trying to speak to those on the right, I said, no, these are my brothers and sisters too. And I genuinely need them. I genuinely need them. We genuinely need them. It takes all of us to beat the oligarchy. It takes all of us. Because what the oligarchy does is it tries to keep our eyes off of them, using the Ledos and the CSACs to carry their water, even as they see them nothing but peons in the game. They try to keep them concerned about us so they don't see that which is damaging them. I will keep repeating that statement over and over, not for those who've heard me mention it before, but for those who are listening to this on podcasts and vlogs and everywhere else that this is going to be played, will get where we're coming from. Let's remember that. Let's remember that. All right. Julie Henderson says the Constitution allows one to redress the government when there is an issue. Does that apply to Tennessee representatives? Of course. Why such harsh penalty for the first event? I don't even think they broke what they call what is that word that they use? Decorum. What they didn't say is the person who had the person who had the camera on the floor doing certain things broke decorum as well. They didn't kick him out. So again, let's see things for what they really are. All right, Mike Cisak says transgender activist criminally holding Riley Gaines hostage demanded money in exchange for her safe passage off the San Francisco State University. Oh Lord, the things that you guys buy. Daniel Edo says Berto does not live his values he espouses. That is a classic definition of a hypocrite. Really, I don't live the values that I espouse. I wonder what those values would be. Because that's the opposite of what the people on the left tell me. They think I am too idealistic. Okay? AR-15s are not used in war, never have been. Thank you for letting me know that, Michael Cisak. That just shows you how little the gun companies think about human beings. So thank you for letting me know that. All right, let's see. British says the AR-15 rifle is, without a doubt, one of the more prolific and controversial firearms in the U.S. history. It's been used in wars abroad and policing at home, and for everything from sports shooting to mass shooting. The NRA even calls them America's rifle. Ah, wow. They should be ashamed, eh? Julie Henderson says, congressional representatives, Lauren Boebert, repeats same offense of carrying a loaded weapon in the House floor. She forfeits her $200,000 case salary to pay fines. She is a repeat offender. Why not remove her? They don't get the point. Egbertos, what is your phone number? You want to call me on my phone? I don't have it hooked up to the system yet. But given that I don't know if I'm staying at KPFT yet, I am going to start making arrangements to have get some phone calls here. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm not sure if what I'll do is continue doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday noon show, whether it's at KPFT or somewhere else. Whatever the case is, I want to take calls at the noon show. We'll see what works out. Whatever the case is, it makes me no matter because we are going to have all the shows necessary to complete the job that we are attempting to do. So rest assured, when that time comes, Mike Cisak, I'll have a number for you. Now, if you're asking me for my personal number so that you can talk to me individually, you can always talk to me individually. There's a phone number on egbertowillies.com that will ring to me. I answer it sometimes, send a text and say, hey, I'll be calling from this number. And if you want to talk to me personally, you can. And if, but send me a text, because I normally don't answer that because I get tons and tons and tons of call. But if you'd like to speak to me personally, I would be more than happy to speak to you, brother. All right. Name the police officer killed by rioters. I don't remember his name right now, but you can find it on any news reel. Julie Henderson, no Tennessee insurrection, no B&E, no weapons used, no violence, no murders. Of course, they are not consistent. Carl Cox says neocon liberals care about special interests over ordinary people. The bottom 99% in terms of wealth. The gun rights crowd want the AR-15 in an attempt to overthrow democracy. The only way you can overthrow democracy in the United States if you get support from the majority of the military. Even some of the military would not be enough, because what we would actually get is some people protecting their families that are Democrats, some people protecting their families that are otherwise. So don't fall. We're not anywhere close to a civil war. I wrote a piece a few months or maybe a year back stating that, are we coming close to a civil war, where I was going through a lot of things, and I think I've been sufficiently schooled by much more aware people than I am in the dynamics of civil war, which tells me we are not even close to that. We have a lot of loudmouths out there, but we're not even close to have the structure that would give you what necessitates a civil war. We may get a lot of terrorism in America, but not a civil war. All right, let's see. Michael Rodney says, Daniel Liddell, man's got nothing but dog whistles today. Look, again, Michael Rodney, trust me, he's not a bad guy, just confused. All right, Peggy Lopez says, interpretation of the Second Amendment is an act of genocide, a political decision that causes the death of innocent American children, the cult of death, not a political party. That is the Republican Party, a cult of death. They'd rather people die than to go ahead and implement the Second Amendment the way it should be. Julie Henderson also says, my father was reprimanded by a doctor when he had a heart attack. He told the doctor he had a business to run. Doctor's response, you're staying in the hospital one more night? Learn to separate. And he's right. That's what they made me do yesterday, Julie Henderson. And I did it. I followed the rules. I promise you. I am not going to do anything to put these eyes in danger at all. I promise you, my beautiful Julie Henderson. Eric Hayes says, Egberto, your eyes are on roids. Just wait till they see you in the gym with your huge eyes. Yo! Hey, Eric, we're going to go work out after I've done the second operation for a month. And I'm going to show you that this old man still can lift. I can't outlift anybody who's seen Eric. Let me tell you about Eric Hayes. This brother can lift, man. This brother is strong. I can't lift what Eric Hayes can lift. Eric would be pressing close, 300 pounds or more? I've seen Eric lift weights, and the man is strong. Now we got to make sure that he come on, Eric, I love you, but he gets to get some sense in get away from the senseless neocon crap. All right. Michael Rene says, Carl Cox, NPR. Yes, Capitol rioters were armed. Here are the weapons prosecutors say they use. Federal prosecutors say Guy Refit is a member of the Texas Three Percenters, a far-right militia. Refit's sons told federal investigators that when Refit returned home from Washington, D.C., he brought an AR-15 rifle with a Smith & Wesson pistol in the house along with his other things. Refit was arrested on January 18th. True. Bridge MCP says, let's see, replying to Michael Rodney. Okay, I don't see that. All right. Don't worry. We all and his family have Egberto's back. Don't worry. We all and his family have Egberto's back. I warned him and he agreed to no show, but didn't have to as his family were perfect. No. I told my family, I said, I promised Bridge. I told them, Bridge. I told Ashley and Linda, I promised you I wasn't going to do the show, but I was going to do a rerun of the KPFT show in that time slot. And they gave me the 15 minutes I needed to queue it up. So all of you guys are family taking care of business. So I love you all and I appreciate that. All right, Daniel Ledo said, I will lock hands with you, Egberto, over indicting the Bidens, Hillary and Fauci. I will lock hands with you to pass constitutional carry in every state. I will lock hands with you to eradicate transgender ideology from America. So it seems there are few issues we can lock hands on. I can assure you there are more issues, Mr. Ledo, that we can lock hands on than you are willing to admit. Those issues that you just spoke about, we won't lock hands on. But those are the least amount of issues that we differ in, Ledo. I'm glad that you named those. Those are the issues that have been calculated by the plutocracy to rear its head in your head, to make you believe that those are the biggest things of importance where you and I differ. And they may be right. Those are where we differ. But there are most things I can give you. We will lock hands together in wanting to support our families. We would lock hands together in wanting America to survive. We would lock hands together in wanting to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to work. We would lock hands on all those issues. You see, I could name things that you can't deny wanting to lock hands with whomever are supporting those things. But what the plutocracy has taught you is those particular issues that they've really demonized, for you to think those are the things that comprise that progressive agenda and not the things that humanity wants. So you see, I'm not looking for where you and I differ, Brother Ledo. I'm looking for where you and I can actually solve problems for Americans. I'm not interested in fighting you on a battlefield. I'm not interested in knocking you out. I'm not interested in slapping you. Of course, if you slap me, I'm going to slap you back. But again, understand, don't let them do that to us. All right, Lee Grant says, transgender seems to be more militant these days. Could be the testosterone. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Egberto 2020 lots were killed. True. Eric Hayes says, Justin Trudeau. I like Justin Trudeau. Oh, wow. You guys, something? I had some stuff on the show. It'll still be on the show, and I'm going to read it in a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to read the show, the parts of the show that I need to real quick, just so that the title of the show inside of the podcast would make sense. So bear with me. I'm going to do that. But I want to tell you guys something. Ledo made me see an important point there. And that is how much we actually agree on. And for that, I want to thank Ledo. Because like I told you guys, I know the man. And I know the man, the display that you see on the screen here. And I'm singling out Ledo, sometimes CSAC, sometimes my right-wingers, I want you guys to know that these are not bad people. Actually, if they were bad people, they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be here. Now, he's going to say something like, I'm here to make sure I can protect you against people like you. They'll use all that kind of rhetoric. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I definitely don't buy it. And I mean that from the core of my heart. Anyway, there are 3 articles today that I want to cover today that I wanted you guys to see today. The first one, and let me put it on the screen. The first one is Biden just took the first step to overall Medicare Advantage. Many more must be taken. The rule is a small step towards reining in some of the overpayments to the Medicare Advantage plans and protecting the integrity of the Medicare Trust Fund, though it is not nearly enough. That article, I'll have it in the blogcast for you guys to read. Let's go ahead and read that on your own after the show, because like I said, you guys run the show and we read what you need to read. The second article is either trade unions win this or it will be the far right. Labor sees high stakes in French pension fight. A new poll shows that Marine Le Pen would beat French President Emmanuel Macron in a head-to-head rematch, making the left struggle against Macron's pension attack a struggle for democracy in France. I said this 2 weeks ago. I said that Macron messing with retirement is opening the door for the right. Macron. They're doing the same thing Donald Trump attempted to do by triangulating the left. They don't care about people. But they will use this to win. The people will be so mad at Macron, they would go ahead and install Le Pen. And after they install Le Pen would do what's necessary to similar things like what they're doing in Tennessee, Texas, and other places where they try to hold on to power. They're failing in Wisconsin because the people have stepped up. Wisconsin has a fairly intelligent population that even as, and they see what's coming. That's why it was not even a close election. So I want you to read that article about Le Pen and Macron. It's a very important article. And the last one that I want you to read is, oh, that's not it. This one here, with Senora AOC talking about why we should impeach Clarence Thomas, given that he has put the Supreme Court up for sale. I want you guys to take a look at that one as well. Very important article. Or rather, it leads to important concepts, that article. Very important concepts. So those were the three items that we're going to talk today, given that I didn't have any videos, but I wanted those articles taken care of. Read it over the weekend under a cup of coffee. If you want to send me some notes about that, we can do that. And by the way, I want to start doing, I interview a lot of folks that are, politicians, etc. But for those of you who are not, who are willing, and I would like all of you to be willing, I want to create a segment, PDR Posse Speaks, right? And I just want to have a 5 to 10 minute interaction with anybody who would come on the camera with me. And let me tell you something, not to pat myself on the shoulder, but I have had the shyest person look at me and tell me I would never do an interview. I'm too shy. And after we've gotten comfortable over a Zoom and sat down and spoke, they loved it. And because of the honesty and the care, it's been a conversation that others can enjoy. There are many people you've seen on KPFT that I put in that chair that would have never, ever, ever gone on camera, let alone gone on a live radio, and said anything. But because they know they're coming into a place that they'll be nurtured, loved, and if somehow they lose their words, they know that it's going to be done in a manner that we can talk and recover in a very clean way. So what I would like anybody to do, anybody who has something to say, and I'd love to get your face on a Zoom call where we fix it up like any other interview I do and talk to my posse. Just drop me a line at info@politicsdoneright.com. I'm going to put that into the field. Info. Come on, not caps. Come on, caps. There we go. info@politicsdoneright.com. I really love the interaction with our peeps. And I really want all of you I want people to see that all of us are in this stuff together. And when I say all of us, I mean we all have a voice, okay? And that we are real people, not just folks that are absorbing what we talk here, but that we are all real people. I saw something from Bruce that I wanted to read and I lost it. Man, there's just a lot of messages coming over. Bruce says, how much more in the wrong direction will this country go? Can we live without tribalism? Yeah, we can live without tribalism. Isn't our natural state. I know you'll have some anthropologists that would like you to believe that tribalism is our natural state. I want to go ahead and put what Bridge MCP put on the screen because, I'm doing a lot of talking. Let's go ahead and put that before I end the show. The show is over, but let me put it. It says, if you put 100 black ants and 100 red ants in a jar, nothing will happen. But if you shake the jar hard, the ants will start killing each other. The red ants will consider the black ants their enemies, and the black ants will consider the red ants their enemies. The real enemies is the one who shakes the jar. The same thing happens in human society. So before we attack each other, we should think about who is shaking the jar. I am so glad I found that in this whole bunch of comments that are coming here. Look, guys, give me 2 minutes to go through a few of these comments because you guys have been marvelous. Let's see what else we got here. Julie Henderson says, belief system is where change begins. Trump knows that well, 24/7, loop fake news. Bruce says, I read that already. Julie says, religious Republicans have broken all 10 commandments. What else? Let's see, what else can I read real quick? Egberto, when conservatives say Solyndra, they are using an anti-renewables dog whistle, and it's so out of date. I understand that. So true. What else have we got here? Breach, be afraid, very afraid of Eric. Oh, man. Eric is a good guy. Eric is honestly a good guy. Julie Henderson says, head has muscles too, include brains, exercise, and exercise. Julie Henderson says, whoa, glad you are here. And let's see what else I can read. I'm just scrolling down real quickly to get some of what just kind of touches me. Egberto, you are forgiven of Ledo insanity. I'm forgiven of insanity because insanity is a disease. Insanity is an issue, right? And they're not only insane on Ledo's side. We have a few of our own insane on the left side that I try. Egberto, the conservative in the chat are here to troll you. The only thing they want is the sadistic joy of seeing their opposition suffer. I get it, Rudnin. I get it. I get what you're saying, and I get that that's what many of them think they want and are doing. But hear me. Hear me. I wrote about this, brother. Have a little trust in your brother. Okay, please do. Like I trust you as well, sir. Please do. But he says, third time asking Egberto Willis, please show this on the screen. Hey, if I don't see it beautiful, I didn't see it, but I saw it this time. Pretty precious. You know when you ask me to put things on, I do. Don't you? Come on, girl. Tú sabes cómo somos. Tú sabes cómo es la cosa. All right, let's see. Egberto, it's 4 p.m. Give your ask. Oh, I forgot about the ask. I'm getting so deep in here, I forgot about my ask. Okay, what time is it? 4:02. I'm going to leave in a minute. But look, folks, I ask you so kindly to support the show. Please go to politics. I'm only going to give you one today. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/support. Politicsdoneright.com/support. And please support the program however you can. We have several options there. I need your support. We need your support. Help us continue pushing the word. I thank you so kindly for listening. I thank you so kindly for being here. My name is Egberto. Oh, by the way, if you are on YouTube, please join. Click that join button and become a part of the PDR posse. I know you don't mind buying Egberto a coffee or two a month. Please join the posse. I need the posse growth. Not only there, but on Patreon and the other platforms. That is how I can continue doing this. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.